Welcome to the 2024 Conway Football Preseason Show. I'm one of your hosts, Levi Gilbert, alongside Tim Roach. And joining us now, the head Wampus Cat himself, Buck James. And Coach, before we dive into this fall, I want to just take a moment here to reflect a little bit on your first full season. It was a whirlwind from the time you took the job in the summer all the way to Black Friday, but you've had a lot of time to reflect on it. What are your key takeaways from last season?
Well, I was proud of our kids. I thought our kids played extremely hard. They bought into a system that probably wasn't the same as what they were used to. Not that it was better, it was just different. And I think our kids responded well. I thought we got better as the season went on. I thought we ended up being a player or two away from playing for a state championship and having a chance to even win a state championship. And, we were closer than probably most people would look at it. But from a coach's standpoint, I thought we were a player or two away, and we've got to improve. We got to get better. Unfortunately, we lost some of those key guys that were playing for us, and we've got to have some guys take their spot, and we got to take a step forward.
Coach, so this is technically your second year, but really, to Levi's point, you got started late in last year. So you've had this full year really to get an off-season program in, all the things that you wanted to do. What has been this year prep into this second year? What have you done to get your DNA embedded into this program?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we've gotten stronger. That was my number one goal, is to catch us up to where we should be. And, when we got here, we had one 400-pound squatter, and I think we had one 300-pound bencher. And, right now we have 25 500-pound squatters, and we have about 15 to 2,300-pound squatters. So we've gotten stronger. I think the key for us now is we got to become better football players. And, the old adage, if you can't catch me, you can't press me. And, we've got to get where we can move. We got to get where we know what we're doing. We got to be able to battle under fire. And we've got to keep getting better at football. And, strength is a big part of it, but it's not the complete component of being a good football player. And, we've had some coaching change. We've had some turnover. We've moved some guys around. And, we've got a lot of things that we've got to get used to. We've had 2 really good weeks in July when we've had everybody here. But at the end of the day, we just got to get better at football, and our football IQ has got to improve.
Coach, back on the strength thing that you mentioned, not only, I know when you came in, you started on the weight program here at the high school level, but you've actually implemented weight program throughout the whole system down to the 7th grade. How's that gone?
Well, it's gone better. Coach Lampy, is in charge of our junior high, and, the numbers down there are a lot better. Coach Prince and Coach Joseph have done a great job with those guys throughout the spring, and, we're noticeably stronger. Our 9th grade coming in this year, from what the coaches tell me, is a lot stronger than the 9th graders in the previous past, and so they've had a real good off season down there. 7th grade, we're still trying to get it going and doing what we need to do with those guys, but overall, the pipeline of strength and development is a lot better than it was, 7 through 9. We've always done a great job here, I think, in 10 through 12. But, there's only so much you can do in 2 or 3 years versus what you can do in 6 years. And, we got to keep that pipeline rolling from the junior high all the way to the high school.
Now, Coach, you had an incredible end to the regular season last year, record crowd here at John McConnell Stadium. You've had this full year to reflect and see how things are working here in Conway. What has stood out to you about the way this community is supporting your football program?
Well, they're passionate. There's no doubt about it. I think it's important. Wampus Cat Football, like all our athletics here, is important. I think, it was an eye-opening experience when we went to Bentonville, and we had as many people there as they did. And, they were on their feet and cheering and really pulled us along in the Bentonville game. And, they did a great job of supporting our football team. I think Conway's hungry for a winner, and I know Buck James is hungry for a winner, and our coaches and players are hungry for one. But, it's a step-by-step process. It don't just happen overnight, and you got to have good players. I don't care how many good coaches you got and how much scheme and how much weight room you've done. You got to have good players, and our guys have done a great job of buying in. We don't have everything we need right now, but the tools are in the toolbox. We just got to find a way for them to be successful.
After the break, we'll break down the offense and special teams here with Coach Buck James on Conway Corp.
You don't wake up thinking about internet speed, electricity, reliability. Your mind isn't on advanced treatment facilities or customizable systems. You don't have to think about any of these things because we do. Conway Corp, always on.
Welcome back to the 2024 Conway Football Preseason Show. I'm Levi, he's Tim. Coach Buck James with us. We're going to break down the offense and special teams. And Coach, let's start with where the magic really happens. And you know this firsthand. It's the offensive line. Come on. I mean, nothing's happening if it's not starting with the offensive line. You graduated 5 seniors that were really core to that rotation last year, but you had a few guys with some starting experience. Isaiah Bowman, Kingston Jackson got some experience as the season went on. How is the offensive line developing, and how's the depth looking as we get ready for the season?
Well, we're stronger. You know, I mean, I alluded to that in the pregame. We're a lot stronger, and I think we're probably a little bigger. You know, definitely Isaiah and Kingston are bigger. But, overall, I think our offense line is going to be bigger, stronger, a little faster. I don't know if they can perform at the level those guys did last year. That'll be, left to be told. But I'm really proud the way they worked. And Coach Del Santos has done a great job of coaching those guys. I think we got some depth. I think we can play more players on the offensive line this year. You know, there's definitely some holes that we got to fill for sure. But I like this offense line, and in secret, sometimes I say this could be a lot better offensive line. But, you have the proof's in the pudding. And our guys are going to have to go out there and prove it. We're going to have to go out there and play hard, play fast. We're still learning, and I think those guys can be a very fine group. And, time will tell on what they can do.
Coach, you for the first time in a long time, you're going to have a brand new quarterback in the system. 3-year starter is out. You had Wesley Tapp, who came in and filled in some spots late in games especially. So you have some experience there, and then you have a transfer in Grayson Wilson in. How does that position look for you this year?
Well, we're talented. I mean, really got great arm talent. Both young men throw the ball well. I like the way our sophomores throw the football. I think we've got some quarterbacks. I mean, nowadays, to have 4 or 5 quarterbacks is a premium. Most kids that play quarterback, if they don't start, they quit. And I'm really proud of our team and proud of those young guys in there. Trying to get better and work and do the things it takes to be a good quarterback. It helps our receivers having 5 guys that can throw the football. And I'm proud of the effort and the teamsmanship, the camaraderie that those guys have had together, and they're out there just trying to get better each and every day. And I said all along, and if we can replace Donnie, we'll be pretty good. And we have a chance to be able to replace Donnie, but that's a awful big drink right there, is to say you can improve off of that guy. And he might be one of the best quarterbacks I've ever coached, and he could be one of the best that played in the state of Arkansas. I think he was a very talented young man, but what a person, what a guy. And, I think he left a legacy here that will last a long time for all of our quarterbacks in the future.
Coach, at running back, we got to see a few juniors last year. They'd get some late game action like Trey Harris, Amari Davis. Trey started to play a little bit more as the season went on. People tend to think of this Conway offense as a pass first, but we've heard you say it so many times. Championship football, you got to be able to run the ball when you want to run the ball. How's the talent developing at running back?
Well, I think we got 4 or 5 guys. I don't know if we're how much better, but I think we'll be better than we were last year. Trey played a lot at the end of the year, but, Kobe Irwin's done a great job. Amari's done a great job. And, we've got Will Moore who moved in, and he's done a great job. I think we have some running backs. How well they run is how well we block. And, I say it all the time. I mean, you got to be able to run the football. Doesn't mean you have to run the football. But if you can throw the football and you can run the football, you got a complete package, and our guys can really do a good job of moving the ball around the field. And, if we got where we have to run the football, that's the thing. And I think that's what hurt us last year is when we had to run the ball, when we had to have a yard or when we had to have a tough 2 yards, and people didn't, really respect that a whole lot. And so we've got to make it where we want to run the football when we want to and we want to throw it when we want to. And if we can do that, I think our running backs will be good because they're good receivers. I think we have some inside guys. I think we have some outside guys. And I think we have a few guys that can run that if they can get a break, a crease, they can go all the way.
You talked about Donnie throwing the ball. He had a good set of receivers throughout the years, those 3 years. You've lost the majority of those folks. You do have Jaden Gaines, who came back, who was one of your starters. The wide receiver core with this offense is obviously its critical function as well. How does that crew look?
Well, we got some depth. I think we're a little bit deeper than we were last year. We just don't have that speed that Chris O'Neal had and Jackson had. And I think that's the thing, is how well are we going to take the top off of it? How, can we keep people from pressing us and compressing the field on us, and can we get out there? I think possession-wise, catching the football, I think we've really improved. I think that Coach McDaniel has done and Coach Aaron have done a really great job with that. And, I think we're going to be a receiver group that's going to keep improving like our guys did last year. And I think they're going to keep improving throughout the year. And, we'll get faster, we'll get a little stronger, and we're going to catch a football. We just got to, keep competing and keep getting better with that.
Coach, one thing that's always exciting about this time of year is all the new faces and new names that, for whatever reason, maybe some sophomores coming up. It could be upperclassmen that are just, finally getting their first real shot at it. What are some names and faces that might be new for folks watching this year? And who's had a really impressive offseason so far?
Well, probably the first young guy that you come out is Cameron Blackman. I mean, he's got a chance to be special, and he jumps out. We brought him up last year. He played a little bit in the playoffs, and but we've got Cameron Sims and too many guys for me to mention, to be honest with you, but. We've got receivers that could definitely be in the mix and maybe could even start in our sophomore class. We've got a couple of linemen that have done a really good job that are in our sophomore class. We have a couple D-backs, and that have really played a lot for us this summer. So I think you're going to see it sprinkled in everywhere on our football team, from the secondary all the way back to the running back position, where we have some young guys. They're guys without a lot of experience who got a chance to play. And, that bodes well for what we got coming in, the next couple of years. But I like the way these guys have worked. They have come in and rolled their sleeves up and really done a good job of trying to get better. And they've been a good sophomore group. And, if they stay together, they're going to be a very successful group.
Special teams, you do lose your deep snapper that was there for 3 years, but you have a kicker that's returning, and you had some return guys that were pretty special last year that could really control that part of the ball game. Special teams, I know, is always the one that you focus on in terms of really making a difference in the ball game. How is your special teams looking?
Well, I think, we got both our kickers back from last year, and, Will Upton and Major Mahar. Strain did all our kicking last year, so we've got them both back. They're both bigger, they're both stronger. I think they're kicking better. We've got a deep snapper back. I think we can do a good job of kicking the football. I think that both those guys complement each other. They have both improved greatly. I think we got Jacoby coming back at kickoff return, and we have Trez Hammond still coming back there. And so 2 or 3 of our return guys are back. Again, we miss Chris O'Neal. But I think we've got a few guys that can return the ball. I think Jacoby had a couple of big kick returns last year, and Trez has had some big kick returns. And so with him and the rest of the guys that are coming up, I think we can hold our own with the special teams, with the kicking and receiving part of it.
Break down the defense after this break here on Conway Corp.
Education is all about vision. It requires commitment, investment, So we pour ourselves into Conway students and teachers, schools, and scholarships. A brighter future? Now that's powerful. Conway Corp. Always on.
Welcome back to the 2024 Conway Football Preseason Show. And Coach, just like we did with the offense, let's start in the trenches on the defensive line. You got quite a few people back with some experience. MJ Jones, Griffin Sherrod, both started throughout last season. A lot of younger guys got in there too, Juju Jones, Justice Hills. But a lot of seniors graduated too. So I expect we might hear a lot of new names on the defensive line.
Well, the guys that we got coming back were rotational guys. And, we get, like you said, MJ and Griffin played a lot last year, and we need them to play well this year. And both of them are much stronger guys. I mean, MJ's a 570-pound squatter. He's a 30-pound bencher. Griffin's a 350-pound bencher and a 550-pound squatter. And now they need to play like that, and that's what I've been telling them. We've got to be more physical. We've got to play better than we played this summer. And we have the guys, we have the ingredients to go down there and do some really good stuff with those guys. I would venture to say might be the strongest defensive line that's ever played in Conway history. Now they've got to get off blocks and go make plays. And every guy on that defensive line is going to be a 500-pound squatter, and every one of them are going to be a 300-pound bencher. They should be able to go out there and rump shake and make this thing happen. And, I've been getting on to them this summer. We've got to play better. We've got to play harder. We got to get off blocks. I thought we did a great job last year getting off the ball and getting to the offensive lineman. Now we got to get off the offensive lineman and start making some football plays. I want our defensive linemen to start making tackles and leading the tackle chart. And I'm very passionate about this because we can be good on defense. We got a chance to be a good football team. And we have the ingredients. We have the guys, but they've got to want to get out there as bad as they want to breathe and play and get after the ball carriers and make the quarterbacks throw the football. And they're big and strong enough. They're fast enough. Now they got to make football plays.
Well, Coach, right behind them are the linebackers, and it's in the defensive scheme. A lot of times the linebackers play the most critical role because it's in that zone right there where things happen, from screenplays to whatever. You lost a couple of guys in that area, but you have some guys return. John Paul Saxon was one. What are you looking like there?
Well, I think we're better. I think I think John Paul's a lot bigger. RJ's a lot bigger and stronger. If you see both of them, you would say that it wasn't them this time last year. Now they got to play like it too. And then they've got to come out there and really spearhead that defense. But, coaches are telling me we're too deep. And, we're really 2.5 to 3 deep, to be honest with you. Now we've got to play football. And just like I said about the defensive linemen, we've got to play better than what we played this summer. We've got to get better at what we do. And a lot of it's football IQ. So a lot of it's repetition and practicing what you're going to see, because we go from seeing what we see in practice and then we go see somebody runs the football in the summer, and that's what they do. Well, we really hadn't worked on our run fits like we should. And, I'm making an excuse for them because we're going to have to do a better job in our run fits. I like the way they worked. I like the way they prepared in the weight room. And now we just got to transfer that to the field. And we're going to see all kinds of offenses. And we've got to be able to stop the run as well as we do the pass. And we've got to make, people are going to try to make the field 50 yards wide on us. We've got to be able to run and pursue the football, and we've got to be good tacklers. Our front seven should be anchors and should be able to play at a high level. And a lot of that is going to be on how much they develop between now and the season starting.
Well, one area you're definitely not lacking any experience is your secondary. You basically have the entire secondary back, and you got some special dudes back there: Tyus Carr, Trez Hammond, Noah Files, and Jacoby Wade.
Yeah, and I think they are. I think they're special. And we go play 7-on-7 games, and we hold people down to, less than 21 points. But the bad thing is we barely scored 21 points. So we've got to start, we got to play. Our defense has got to match our offense, and our offense can't beat our defense. But, I think we're as talented as any team I've ever coached. We're not the biggest guys back there, but they've gotten a lot stronger, and they all can run. And I'm excited for those guys, you know, and we got some good young guys behind them. I mentioned, you know, earlier, we got some sophomores and some guys who didn't play a lot last year who can come in there and be able to play a little bit. You know, we're looking at playing Jacoby some on the offensive side of the football. We're looking at playing Tress some on the offensive side of football and give us some speed and depth, you know, deep field threats. And, you know, if we can get some guys to step up, play at a high level, then we can move some of those guys to offense and big play situations in the game and be able to break games open just because you got to cover those guys and they're going to catch a football. And so there's some things that, you know, in the works that makes us a really good football team. We just got to have some guys to get in there and stoke the fire and get themselves better and give themselves an opportunity to be able to help us win some football games.
So to keep in with that theme, we talked about this on the offensive side. So from a position, you talked about a couple of guys that are in our secondary potentially playing in the next on the offensive side. Are there positions where you're seeing some of these younger folks that are, do you see positions that are probably going to be better fitted for their involvement early on, like secondary? Do you see more guys playing secondary, the young guys?
Well, I think it just depends on, you know, who we're playing, you know, and what kind of team we're playing. You know, definitely we wouldn't play a Fayetteville guy and, you know, delete our secondary and something like that. But if we're going to play a team that's going to run the football majority of the time, and then, yeah, we would probably do some stuff like that. You know, it really a game-by-game situation, and really it depends on how well we develop as a team. And, you know, I can't stress this enough. Our football IQ, understanding what's going to happen, down and distance situation, what they do best, who they go to, you know, the things that we just take for granted. You know, kids nowadays don't watch as much football as they play football. And, you know, they play these games and they know what these guys can do and they watch highlights, but they don't watch the game within the game like they did probably 10 or 20 years ago. And so, you know, you've got to make sure that your attention to detail. You got to make sure that you understand what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and that goes back to game planning and what coaches can do to improve on that and stuff. But, you know, I would like for us to have been a lot better this summer on defense than what we were. You know, we've got to turn the blender on. We got to get hot. We got to start fighting a little bit harder, and we got to be a little tougher. But, you know, I know these guys can do it. I watched them do it last year. You know, they've got a chance to be a really talented defense, and anytime you're good on defense, you have a chance to be a good football team.
We'll talk about the schedule and the 7A Central after this break here on Conway Corp.
We don't schedule the appointments, but we connect them. We don't read the x-rays, but we stream them. We don't handle the procedures, but we power them. Here's to running the things that make business run smoothly. Conway Corp, always on.
Welcome back to the 2024 Conway Football Preseason Show. I'm Levi, he's Tim. Coach Buck James here with us. And Coach, you didn't really have any changes to the coaching staff when you came in your first year, but there's been a few additions in this offseason. Can you tell us a little bit about these guys and what they're contributing to your program?
Well, we brought in Ryan Howard, who was formerly a head coach at CAC, and I'm sure that's all well documented, but he is a very good football coach, and he's going to be coaching our quarterbacks, and he's done a great job. I mean, I think he's a very talented young coach and a guy that's very smart, very complimentary to Coach Kelly and what he's trying to get accomplished. And, you know, Coach Kelly moved more to the running backs and H-backs and tight ends. And that makes a big difference too, because we need the H-backs and tight ends to, you know, fill the box and stuff, and you know, and have a guy that's build a relationship with those running backs. And so, you know, we really didn't have that last year. So we moved Keegan McDaniel to the staff. He's been a long-time college guy. Spent last year at Rogers Heritage as an offensive coordinator, but been 10 years in major college football. He's been from he coached at Georgia, Louisiana Tech, Auburn, Arkansas State, and Missouri. And he's coached for some good coaches. I mean, he was with Kirby Smart, he was with Skip Holtz, he was with Gus. Malzahn. He was with Hugh Freeze, and he was with Eli at Missouri. So I think we really improved our staff. I think these guys have done well. They got the right temperament, the right mentality for it. We moved Colton Jackson down to junior high, and I say down, but it is going to be the best thing that's ever happened to our junior high, and because we've got an offensive line coach there, and we really hadn't had an offensive line coach in junior high in the current system that we've been in, and he's a student in the weight room, so our strength and conditioning, our lineman play and stuff. I think Colton is wants to be sometime a future administrator, and gives him a chance to go to school. He's got 2 young kids, and he is going to be a plus for us down there with the offensive linemen and handling our strength program with Coach Lampy. And I'm really excited about the changes that we had, and really everybody else is the same. We're sort of intact the same way on defense that we were last year, and we still have the volunteer coaches that we've had last year, and we have a good staff. I think we have a really good staff, and I told our offense staff the other day, we can make this work. Might be the best offensive staff I ever had, but proof's in the pudding too. And I really think we got some talented young men who really care about kids, who have a passion for the game and passion for coaching. And I've really had fun watching them coach and prepare, and we teach the kids what it's like to be a football player, and it's been a lot of fun.
So, with looking at your non-conference schedule, with the reclassification churn and cycle that goes on, there's a lot of different changes. We get one now non-conference team in Jonesboro who moved to 6A. We now have them on the schedule as a non-conference. We have to go there first. Then we play Bentonville, which is always the tough one, and then you've added Marion, which I've seen film on them, and they're scary good. Talk a little bit about your non-conference schedule.
Well, I think it fits all the pieces. I think in Jonesboro's a big, strong team. You would not believe how much bigger they are this year than they were last year. I've had about 6 or 7 move-ins that have really changed the complexion of their team. Very big offense and defensive line. They've got skill guys. And a very talented football team. And this is the second year for their coach to be there, and he's trying to do the same things we're doing. I think going to Jonesboro on week 0 is going to be a good test for our football team. And then coming back against Bentonville, enough said there. They're a very talented football program. They always have all the pieces to the puzzle. They're very good at what they do, very well coached, very disciplined football team, and bring it every single night they play. And so that's a great opener for us at home. And by any means, we're not have a weak schedule there. And then Marion is probably one of the most up-and-coming. Got a new coach that has been there for a couple of years, and they've got several Division I players, probably have one of the best linemen in the state. I think just committed to LSU, and very talented football team. I'm used to playing them. We played them when I was at Bryant, and very athletic football team. We've seen them a few times this summer, and very talented. And we're going to have a lot of speed, and so it covers all the boxes for what we're going to see in our. And you want your non-conference schedule to sort of mirror what you're going to see throughout the season. And I think we've got a tough schedule. I think we have an athletic schedule, and I think we have something that's going to give us a chance to prepare for each team we play through the next 7 weeks.
Well, 2 major changes in the 7A Central. We mentioned Jonesboro dropping back down to 6A, and then Northside moving to the 7A West. All of that because you've got 2 private schools moving up from 6A in Pulaski Academy, Little Rock Christian, 2 teams that have championship pedigree in the 6A and 5A in previous years. Somehow, you add that into the mix with us and Cabot and Bryant, North Little Rock. Somehow the 7A Central's got even more competitive.
Yeah, finishing in the top 6 would be a pretty good team. And there's just really no lie to that. And Coach Reed from Cabot were talking about that. You finish in the top 4, you got a really good football team. And those guys got almost 20 state championships between both of them. And, I coached at Little Rock Christian for a couple of years, and, people ask me all the time, how are they going to do? They're going to do just fine. They're going to be very well coached. They're going to have all the pieces that they need. They're always going to have the players they need. And, the thing that's probably hurting them just on the hoof coming in is depth and how well they stay healthy. But 1-on-1, 11-on-11, 22-on-22 will be as good as any football team in the state year in, year out. And very, very good programs. Spend the money. They have they they check all the boxes for what good high school football programs have, and it's going to be tough, and that's the way it should be. This is probably without a doubt the best conference in the state of Arkansas, top to bottom, and it just got a little tougher. If a kid wants to see if he can compete and he can play and he wants to play at a high level, he can find out in the 7A Central for sure.
Coach, you've been doing this a long time. I won't go into how many years that is, but you've been doing it a long time, and obviously what championship football looks like and what it takes to prepare to get there. We've talked today a lot about some of the things that maybe we're trying to get better at to get there. But on the flip side of that, so we know where where we need to get to. What has you excited about this team? What makes you excited to come in and coach this team?
Well, they're eager to get better. And I say this, and I say this when I mean it when I say it, but we have parents who let us coach their kids. What else can you ask for? We get all our needs met. We get most of our wants met, and they let us coach their kids. I've had them come up and say, "Coach, do whatever you got to do to get him better." And that's what you want to hear. And it's tough nowadays to be a coach. It's tough nowadays to be a player because there's so much scrutiny on everything that you do. Everything is going to live forever. With the internet is and YouTube and everything. There's always every play that you play is going to last forever. And I tell our kids all the time. I said I was leading passer on my high school team. I was leading rusher. I was the leading tackler. I carried the water to the game, and I was the best player that ever played the game of football. But you can't go out and prove it because there's not anybody. There's no film or anything left of it. So, accountability is a lot different now. And our kids, it's tough. It's tough to go out there and play. And if you make a mistake, then to forget about it and try to keep plugging and keep getting better. And next thing you know, you're a highlight film on somebody else's video. And but that's what makes it great too. I think football is more popular than it's ever been, and I think kids enjoy playing the game. It's the last frontier on, what else can you do where they try to beat you down and you try to, carry a ball around. And it's a fun game to coach. You have to be tactical, but you have to be tough. You have to be fast. You have to be strong. And then you got to have the right play and the right system to make it work. And that's what makes it fun. That's why we get to do what we're doing and talk about it and have preseason shows and stuff. Proof's in the pudding. Everybody's going to have to play 10 games. It's going to be out there for what it is. And hopefully our kids will have a great time. It'll be a lot of fun for them, and they'll have memories and experiences of a lifetime.
It's Conway head coach Buck James, and Coach, you're always generous with your time. We really appreciate that. All right, first chance to see these Wampus Cats, August 20th, scrimmage here at home, John McConnell Stadium. First game that counts for the real records. That's August 30th on the road at Jonesboro. Of course, you can watch that live on Conway Corp. We'll see you in August.